Hey there, and welcome back to another explainer. I am genuinely so excited about our topic today because, let's be real, we are tackling one of the absolute trickiest parts of running any organization. I'm talking about figuring out who your top performers actually are, and then what on earth to do with them. Today, we're unpacking this incredible framework called the Empower 180 Six-Box Talent Matrix. It's this beautifully calibrated tool designed to classify your talent based on hard evidence and future growth capacity. So let's just jump right in, shall we?
Okay, be honest with me for a second. Have you ever promoted someone simply because they were absolutely crushing their current job, only to watch them completely flounder the second they had to actually manage people? Yeah, it's the classic corporate trap, right? You promote your best salesperson to sales manager, and boom, you instantly lose your best salesperson and somehow gain your worst manager. Or, maybe you've sat in one of those talent review meetings where the decisions felt way more like a high school popularity contest than an actual strategic discussion. It happens all the time. But this framework we're looking at today, it's specifically designed to put an end to all that guesswork.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. Fixing broken talent decisions. 2. The 2 critical dimensions. 3. Inside the 6 boxes. 4. Evidence over opinion. And finally, 5. Taking leadership action. Starting off with Section 1, Fixing broken talent decisions. It is definitely time for a better approach. Now, I'm guessing a lot of you are probably pretty familiar with the traditional 9-box model. But let's be real here. It's usually incredibly complicated. Honestly, some managers spend hours in meetings, endlessly debating whether someone is a quote-unquote medium-high or a high-medium potential. I mean, what does that even mean? Well, the Empower 180 framework strips all that noise down to just 6 boxes. It's simple, it's sharp, it is fiercely action-oriented, and most importantly, it reflects the actual reality of your workplace. It totally acknowledges that not everyone fits neatly into some abstract bucket. Moving right into Section 2, the 2 critical dimensions. We're talking performance and potential. So every single employee in this matrix is evaluated on exactly 2 things: performance and potential. Performance is all about the now. How well are they delivering in their current role right this minute? What are their results? Are they holding themselves accountable? Potential, on the other hand, is all about the future. What is their growth capacity? Do they have that learning agility? Are they actually ready to take on more complex responsibilities? The whole crucial takeaway here is this. By splitting these 2 dimensions apart, you literally stop making that classic mistake of promoting someone just because they do their current job well, without actually checking if they have the capacity for future complexity. It's a real game changer. All right, Section 3, Inside the 6 boxes. Let's look at this calibrated framework. Okay, so here is the whole shebang at a glance. You've got 6 distinct classifications: new support, strong growth, top potential, coach and manage, coach, and master. What I really want you to notice here is how every single box clearly maps out an employee's current performance, their future potential, and, this is the absolute most crucial part, the immediate action a leader needs to take. You aren't just slapping a label on people, you are actively generating a roadmap for exactly how to manage them. Let's actually break down a few of the most unique boxes in this model. First up is new support. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates why this matrix is just so incredibly fair. Think about it. If someone is in their first 0 to 12 months, or maybe they just transferred to a totally new department, they absolutely shouldn't be dumped into a low performer bucket just because they're learning the ropes. That's not fair. This box creates a safe space. It completely protects new hires from unfair evaluations and forces managers to slow down, focus on onboarding, clarify those standards, and really build the person's confidence before passing any sort of permanent judgment. Now, let's talk about the master box. Guys, this one is a massive deal. We all have those incredibly reliable experts on our teams, right? They deliver consistent top-tier work, they provide incredible stability, and they just know how to solve problems. But here's the catch. They might not have any desire whatsoever to be promoted into management. And you know what? That is perfectly fine. The master box recognizes that expert, individual contributors are absolute strategic assets. We need to recognize them, keep them around, and leverage their expertise, rather than trying to force them up some corporate ladder they literally have no interest in climbing. On the total opposite end of the spectrum, we've got our top potential and strong growth potential folks. These are your future value creators. They are performing brilliantly right now, and they have super high readiness for the future. Identifying these people early is absolutely critical. Why? Well, because if you don't give them stretch assignments, executive exposure, and a fast track for development, they're going to get bored. And trust me, when high potential people get bored, those external job offers are going to start looking really, really good, and they will leave.
Now let's look at a really important distinction for any manager out there, the big difference between coach and manage. So coach is for someone who is honestly doing a pretty good job, but they just aren't quite ready for a promotion yet. They need to deepen their current skills. Coach and manage, on the other hand, that means performance is actively falling below standard. They need direct accountability, documented gaps, and a strict, time-bound decision. Separating these two categories is brilliant because it prevents leaders from confusing developmental, supportive coaching with urgent, critical performance management.
All right, Section 4, Evidence over Opinion. We're talking observable facts only.
Okay, the whole integrity of the Empower 180 matrix rests entirely on this concept of calibration discipline, which really just means managers aligning their evaluations so everything is actually consistent and fair. You absolutely cannot place someone in a box based on your current mood, a fuzzy memory from last week, or just because you happen to grab coffee with them every Tuesday. No way. It has to be based on hard, observable facts. We're talking performance against agreed-upon objectives, measurable quality indicators, actual manager observations over a specific period, and a fully documented coaching history. It literally forces leaders to deal in reality, not just gut feelings or assumptions.
Moving to Section 5, Taking Leadership Action. This is where the matrix becomes an engine.
So, the core philosophy here is this: talent classification must lead to the right leadership action. Honestly, this is the entire heartbeat of the Empowered 180 model. This is not some tedious HR paperwork exercise where you fill out a form and forget about it. If you spend hours classifying your team and then change absolutely nothing about how you actually manage them, you have completely wasted your time. Every single box in this matrix is an action engine, specifically designed to trigger a very specific leadership response.
And that action is sustained through what we call a decision rhythm. It's pretty fascinating. Notice how the urgency and frequency completely shift based on the box. So if someone is in coach and manage because they're underperforming, you aren't waiting around for an annual review. You are sitting down with them weekly or biweekly. What about new support? You do monthly check-ins. Top potential? You are actively reviewing them every single quarter, specifically with executive visibility to make sure they are actually being prepped for succession. The matrix literally tells leaders exactly when they need to act.
So, you might be wondering, how do you actually roll this out in the real world? Well, it follows a really practical, step-by-step implementation cycle. You start by very clearly defining your performance standards and actually training your managers on what real evidence looks like. Then you collect that evidence and conduct calibration meetings where leaders cross-reference their findings to keep things objective. You all agree on the precise leadership action for each person, and finally, you regularly review their movement over time. Because remember, people are dynamic, they aren't static. They should be moving between these boxes as they naturally grow, learn, and change. When an organization truly commits to this whole process, the strategic value is just profound. It dramatically improves succession planning because you're spotting your future leaders way earlier. It strengthens your retention rates by giving those high potentials a crystal clear path forward. It completely takes the ambiguity and guesswork out of performance management, and honestly, overall, it builds immense leadership discipline across your entire management team. It's like upgrading your entire operating system. I want to leave you with this final, really important thought to chew on. Is your current talent matrix just a static label that you apply once a year and stick in a drawer? Or is it a living, breathing action system? The Empower 180 six-box matrix challenges all of us to stop just talking about our talent and start actively leading them based on clear, undeniable evidence. I want you to think about your own team today and really ask yourself which of these boxes they truly belong in. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this helps bring some incredible clarity to your future leadership decisions.